Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Women Developing Brilliance Challenge. This week, we are talking all about how to bring all of you to your biz now. I hope you've enjoyed the previous couple of days. Today is day 4, and today we are talking all about adopting a sales as service approach. It's really a mindset and an approach in order to book our dream clients. So I'm excited to dive in. This is a topic that comes up often. It's a question that I get often as well, from most often because I tend to attract a spiritual entrepreneur, someone that's in the healing and helping arena, and they tend to resist sales. Many times it's because of a mindset block of something they assume or have a connotation built around what sales is. And most times the things that they're conjuring up are not in alignment with their core beliefs and values, and so they resist the topic altogether. We know if we are entrepreneurs, part of being an entrepreneur is a commerce exchange. It's an exchange of money for our time, energy, and effort that we're providing our clients. If we don't attend to sales, then we're basically setting ourselves up to be professional hobbyists. And I know if you're watching this, that is far from what you want. And most of my clients and potential clients express to me that they're looking to create an abundant lifestyle, a lifestyle where they will always know that their needs are met and they will have security for themselves, their family, and their kids. So if you're on the same page, let's dive in and first off, talk about what the definition really of sales as service is, so we're on the same page. Basically, this approach of looking at your selling, looking at sales as a service, is thinking about the client's best interest at heart. It's not coming about it from anything that's a need on your side, but it's very much being focused on what the client needs and what problem they need solving. So it's really kind of shifting, it's a small shift, but a massive shift, a shift with profound results and, just action steps really based on that shift. So one of the things that when we're looking at that is it's something that's called high intention, low attachment, or HILA for short. So something where you have a high attention to serve, but a low attachment to the outcomes. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, maybe in your own discovery calls or strategy sessions, or maybe if you were on the other end, maybe you were the prospective client and you could kind of sense the difference when someone was still there and still 100% present with you, but not pushing, not prodding, not some of these other negative connotations that we may have experienced in the past on the recipient end of sales. So before we dive in what we want it to look like, let's just take a minute and pause and think of an opportunity or an experience that you've had in the past that didn't feel so good. So maybe it was someone trying to sell you a product or a service. And I want you to just take a second and think about that experience. I want you to think about the kind of feelings and emotions that it conjured up in you when you were in that experience and how it made you feel. And you can go ahead and share with me in the comments if you would, and let me know how that experience was for you. I know a lot of times people will think of a car salesman as somebody that was pushy, somebody that maybe really was kind of a hard sell, and whatever the thing is for you that you've experienced where it's like, man, that was so uncomfortable. I just don't want anything to do with that company or that product or service because of the way that it made you feel. So I want you to just take a second and think about that. I know sometimes it's easier to remember some of the negative experiences that we've had that we never want to duplicate before we start thinking about the positive ones. So first, let's just think about an experience and the qualities that salesperson exhibited that we know for sure we don't want to duplicate. All right, you probably have an experience in your mind coming up like that. So let's flip that now, and I want you to think about an experience that you absolutely loved, whether it was with a product or with a service, but I want you to think about a recent or a past experience that you just thought, wow, that was just so effortless. That was just so easy. It was such an easy yes for me. And think about the qualities that the salesperson exhibited. You know, maybe it was time, maybe it was space, maybe it was like deep understanding. But I would love for you to think about some of those qualities and how you felt in that experience, in that exchange. Maybe it was even on a Zoom call, right? We're doing a lot of virtual stuff now. So maybe it was a recent Zoom call that you had with somebody you were thinking about working with and you really appreciated or admired their style. Let me know about that. Hey, Linda, good morning. Yes, it made me feel yucky and I don't want to do that to my prospective clients. Oh, absolutely. Linda, tell me a little bit about the qualities that person exhibited or some of the feelings, like you said, yucky. Like, what did they do? Did they pressure you? Did they put the hard squeeze on? Like, tell me, if you will, some of those things that you experienced, because I know you and I have had conversations before of like, we know what we don't want to do in our business. We don't ever want people to look at us as greedy or sleazy or slimy or cheesy or any of those fill in the blank negative connotations when it comes to selling our product. And I'm going to pause there for a minute when you're jotting that down, because most of the time, and the people that we're kind of like talking to right now, my audience are solopreneurs. And so in this arena, it is really us. Like, we are not standing behind a company label. It is like me, myself, and I in many cases when you are having direct dealings with a solopreneur. And I think that that's where some of these possible challenges can arise, because it is you selling you. And so there's really nowhere to hide. And we want to make sure that our selling process is a really crystal clear reflection of who we are, who we want to be, our highest self, right? And sometimes that can take a little tweaking or a little refining in order to come up with a system or a structure that works for us, that feels really, really good and really like in alignment to our sole purpose. All right, let's see here. Yes, pressure. Oh, a deal that only lasts for a short time, so I have to decide right now. Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. So this is a very interesting thing, because there are a lot of psychological reasons why there are certain things like time scarcity, right? So a limited time offer kind of brings in a scarcity, and it's a natural human instinct to feel like FOMO, right? There's a fear of missing out. If I don't get this thing now, I'll lose the bonuses. I'll miss out on that one-on-one call opportunity with a coach. Whatever it happens to be, I won't be able to get the rebate on my car if I don't make the decision now. And so this is where you want to understand sales and marketing from that psychological viewpoint, but I only want you to adopt principles that feel good with you. Now, here's the thing. You can do both. I'm a firm believer that it's not either or, but yes and. Because it doesn't have to be the cheesy flashing lights, countdown timer, really squeezing you hard when it comes to that time scarcity marketing tactic, I'm going to call it. But people really do love prizes, and they do love bonuses, and they do take action when there is a time constraint. So my encouragement when you are thinking about your sales strategy for you is, I don't want you to throw everything out the window. I want you to take both your positive and your negative sales experiences and jot down a list. What negative sales experiences have you encountered and what made them feel negative? So Linda was saying that feeling like if she doesn't decide now and she's being really pushed and rushed into it, that she's going to miss out or lose out. So jot down all the things like, did they did they make you like, was sort of like a condescending tone to the experience? You know, I've definitely experienced that in a car situation, like, oh, little lady, you don't quite understand, but, and immediately that's such a turnoff. So whatever those things are for you, of the con lane, right, of the lane that you just like, those are qualities I will never adopt. And those are the qualities that make me want to run far, far away from sales. And then on the flip side, I want you to do a pro column. All of the things and the dealings that you've had with people and what drew you to them. What made you get so excited about their product or their service? Was it their tone? You know, was it, like I said, deep understanding or compassion? Was it space for you to decide and make that commitment? What were some of those things? Because when we see a compare and contrast kind of sheet of paper in front of us, it allows us to start pulling out pieces that we want to craft in our unique sales strategy. Again, there are proven psychological reasons why things like scarcity, there's only 10 spaces left, or time constraints, you have to decide by X time in order to qualify for XYZ. There are reasonings behind those. You don't have to adopt them fully, but I also want to encourage you to think about how can you creatively adopt these proven techniques and strategies in a way that feels really good to you. How can you do that? It is not an either or, it's a yes and. And that is how your marketing is going to be super unique, and you don't have to follow this framework that's maybe not feeling comfortable to you. Most of the time, especially in the female entrepreneurial space where there is a level of spirituality and creativity, we don't want to be put in a box, right? And the freedom of that is that we get to paint that canvas exactly the way that we want it to look, that feels in alignment to who we are. So right off the bat, I just want to have you give yourself permission, right? That you get to create this in any way that you want. But the main thing is that you're committing to actually developing a sales strategy, and that you're also open-hearted and curious-minded to say, I can make this work for me, right? Because if people don't get that call to action, if people don't have an invitation or an offering, then they're not going to take a step for you, like towards you. It's not enough to just say, here's everything, and if you're interested, no problem, I'm here. And I did that in the beginning, right? I was so super casual in my discovery calls. And I was just like, hey, you know, here's all the information. Let me dash you an email. And if you're interested, you know where to find me. So I highly recommend that you don't employ that strategy, because 9 out of 10 times with that kind of loose and casual approach, you're not going to get the conversions, which means you're not going to be booking your dream clients. People need that extra support and navigation when it comes to making a commitment. And so it's your job, whether you're a coach or a service provider, to help them through some of those common objections of not enough time, not enough money. Most importantly, underneath all of that is a fear, whether it's a fear of success or a fear of failure or both, a fear of saying yes to themselves, a fear of possibly wondering if they're going to make a wrong decision because maybe they've made other wrong decisions in the past, right? So they're actually going to need your help to navigate that sales process. The most important thing is that you commit to creating a sales strategy for your company, again, because we are in this for an exchange. Money is just an exchange of energy. So we're in commerce for an exchange, and money is a part of the equation. The other piece is learn the tactics that have been proven psychologically, but adopt them in a way that feels good to you. And a lot of that is tone. A lot of that, believe it or not, is color, right? And really being aware of who we're speaking to. And I'm going to get into that a little bit further. So you've got your pros and cons lists. You have that idea. I want to end with the positive, keeping the positive lane. So you're thinking about that positive experience that you had with someone, that it made you actually feel good. And I want you to think about the time that you said yes. And what kind of benefits did you have? Whether it was a product that you're like, man, this is amazing. This has really helped save me time, money, energy, stress, whatever it happens to be, where you felt really strong benefits from the product or service. I want you to just think about that and think about that zone. Okay, cool. And now I want you to think about your product or service. And I want you to jot it down. I'm also going to have a support printable for you with all of these prompts so you can take notes for sure, but also I will be sending you, if you're registered, the support printables that have these prompts so you can really dive in and start crafting a sales strategy that's in alignment. So I want you to now think about, what problem do you solve for your ideal clients? And what kind of transformation do you have for them? I want you to jot that down, take a think. You can also write it in the notes if you want so I can see it. But this is going to really help you step into that sales as service mindset, because when you think of what that transformation is, if you don't have an offering or an invitation for your prospective client to come into your arena, you are actually keeping them from experiencing and benefiting from the transformation that you offer. And so there is absolutely no way that you can be in the mindset that sales is sleazy when you actually are tapped into sales being a service. You would not be in business if you didn't 100% believe that you had a product or a service that could help someone. You just wouldn't create it. You wouldn't put your time and energy in it. You wouldn't take the risk and the risks that it continues to ask of you if you weren't committed to your purpose, if you didn't create this business to help people, to serve people, to help them go from where they are to where they're going. And so I want you to really lean into that, because I've had people say to me, when I try to promote myself, it just feels like, one, very ego-based, and two, like I'm just being, like that pushy, icky salesperson. And I think that there is nothing furthest from the truth when you have a positive and pure intention, because your intention is not to scam anyone, right? Your intention is to serve. So it is truly flipping the switch from scam to serve, right? And it is really flipping that perspective of an invitation and an offering versus another sell button that's flashing in somebody's face. And so I want you to just think back at that experience that was really positive for you. And if that person never gave you that invitation, you would have never been able to experience the positivity or transformation that you did, because they were brave enough to put an offer out there and you were brave enough to say yes to yourself to accept it. Let me know if this is making sense to you. It's a really beautiful process. It has the power to up-level your whole business, because people are attracted to confidence and they can absolutely sense authenticity, really now more than ever. Like, I think we have our BS meters very much dialed in with the tremendous amount of marketing messages that we receive on a daily basis. And so it only takes a very short time for someone to be like, yes, this feels good. No, this is something that I'm going to be walking away from. Like, it just doesn't feel right to me. And so you want to be thinking about that when you can take a step back from your own work and be like, okay, am I making the offer? That's another huge question. I know so many people that have beautiful products and services and they never make an offer. Because one, they're like, well, I put the post out and if they wanted it, they're going to come and ask me. And that is not the case. They need to be led by the hand to the next best step. And they also need to feel your confidence. They need you to actually be like, I have something that can help you solve your problem. So they need both of those things to make it all come together. All right, so now we're going to talk about the how, because we're already knowing the importance of sales. We're already knowing that it's in our best interest and our clients and prospective clients' best interests to make offers and to make offers consistently. You've heard me talk about the 80-20 rule. I'm a fan of the 80-20 rule as well when it comes to sales. And how that breaks out is for every 4 posts that you've delivered content-rich value, the 5th post is your pitch. It's a sales post. And so if you're now going to spread this out and look at it through the lens of, say, you're posting Monday through Friday, and I'm not saying that's the secret rule, but I'm just saying that for easy math, if you've decided to commit to posting on your favorite social media channel Monday through Friday, then that means, and that's actually what I do on Instagram, Monday through Thursday, my posts all rotate around value-driven content that's going to help my prospective clients solve a problem, get inspired, have an educational tidbit. And on Fridays, that's when I pitch either a free strategy session, a course, a paid masterclass, and that's the rhythm that works for me. So that's that 80-20 rule. We don't want to train our audience to just expect all of our content for free, because you're not going to have a sustainable business that way. So we really want to stay in this habit of give, 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 ask, right? Give, 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 ask. And that's a process that's going to keep sustainability, consistency, routine, that give and take of energy. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful process to wash, rinse, and repeat. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the how now. How do we adopt a sales as service approach? What does that look like? I understand what it is, but now how do I do it? So the very first thing, which really taps into the high intention, low attachment, HILA, high intention, low attachment. And what that really means to me in this specific instance is you need to get your bases covered first. This is a pitfall that I see all too often, where either startups or seasoned entrepreneurs that may be going through some ups and downs in their income fall trap to, which is they are in a space of neediness. And what I mean by that is it's impossible to jump on a strategy session or a discovery call if you're worried about making next month's mortgage. And unfortunately, many people will try to put all their eggs in the entrepreneurial basket. And I have to say that I am a fan of not having a plan B, because it absolutely makes you uber focused when you know that you're not going to be able to kind of fall back on a plan B. But that being said, when it comes to this topic of sales as service, we must have that high attention, low attachment. And in order to do that, we have to have our bases covered and know that our simple basic bills are going to be met until the momentum of all of our sales and marketing can catch up with us. So step 1 is getting your bases covered, even if that means to freelance and do 2 things parallel while you're growing your business, or while your business can hit those income goals on a consistent basis, because only then are you going to be able to be centered and grounded when you're making your offers, when you're pitching. Because that sense of impatience is when you start to feel this anxiety building up, where you feel you need to put the hard sell on, or you need to squeeze somebody for an answer. You need to pressure them to make that commitment to you right then on the call. And nobody likes that. It's actually a repellent. And so in order to have, like I said, that grounded, centered sales as service approach, we need to have our bases covered. And we need to know that our nut is going to be covered, for a period of time as we're ramping up to try to meet those income goals. There is absolutely no shame in building your side hustle while you're maintaining something that has a consistent paycheck, until that catches and you can just go full guns and full focused into your career, into your entrepreneurial endeavor. Does that make sense? All right, let me take a look here in the comments. Yes, sales is service. I took my experience from the dental field and I recommended that prospective clients interview at least 2 other coaches. This immediately releases any pressure on them and shows I'm confident in my coaching. I love that. That is amazing. And, it's so very interesting that you mentioned that, because I always recommend that my clients create a lead magnet that actually helps their prospective clients. It helps them facilitate the decision of if they should hire them, for example. So when I worked with a construction client, we created a lead magnet, which was like how to decide which, general contractor is going to be best to build your home, right? And so you can really provide that for them. And it's the same similar thing that you're talking about, where you're recommending that they go and look at other coaches, because it gives them this opportunity of like, oh, first it puts them in the driver's seat. It empowers them to make a wise decision. And you're absolutely right. It drives home your confidence of your services. And that's just going to bring them closer to you. And I bet you that 9 out of 10 of them, just by you saying that in full integrity, will just have that decision so much closer for you versus actually going and doing the work to suss somebody else out. So it's a really interesting thing. And I say that because I know that you've said that in full integrity. It is like not a tactic. It's truly in a place of confidence of your own work. So I'm loving that. That's amazing. All right, step 2 in this little 3-step process of how to adopt sales as service mindset is to understand your audience deeply. So we've all probably done the ideal client avatar exercise, and that's a fabulous first step to uncovering what our target audience needs. But there is no way that we can sell anyone anything unless we truly understand what they want. What are they struggling with? What are their desires? What are their challenges? And the big one that I really feel that the most successful people will be focusing on is, what do they need right now? And it is that word now, because we have just gone through something that we've never gone through worldwide, globally, and it has put it's really put the world in a tailspin. And so if you're trying to repeat things that used to work for you and your company last year or 3 years ago, you may find that it's not working right now. And so one of the things when you're in this second category here, the key word is relevant. What is relevant for my prospective client right now? And maybe that is helping them on an emotional level. Maybe it's helping them calm the chaos. Maybe it's helping them clear the cobwebs and get clarity. Maybe it's helping them regain confidence and have some kind of hope or optimism and lift them out of depression. There are many, many things that we're all paralleling on in 2020 that you can actually get ahead of the curve and think about, what does my client need right now? And I guarantee that the answer is different today than it was 1 year ago pre-COVID. So that's going to really, really help you to adopt this sales as service approach, because we'll deeply understand who our client is. If you don't understand them, you need to start having conversations so you can understand them. You need to start being a fly on the wall, which you can easily do that in Facebook forums by listening in and looking at other comment threads. You can easily use the search feature in Facebook groups. So if you are a life coach, for example, you can put life coach in there and see what comes up and take a peek and listen to the conversations going on. What's going well for them? What do they wish they had? What do they need now more than ever? And it may be an extended pay plan. Maybe it used to be enough to have a pay in full and a 3-prong pay plan, but maybe now, people are clutching onto their purse strings a little bit tighter. In the US, it could be from our political unrest. Globally, it could be from COVID and the loss of wages. We don't know. But it's a keen solopreneur that thinks about the changes that are going on now and how that has an impact on the psychological and emotional decisions that our prospective clients make. So that's step 2, is deeply understanding what our client needs now and making sure that our product or service meets that demand and helps them solve the problem now. Okay, step 3 is diversifying your offerings. So if you have been following my work, you know that I'm a big believer of not putting all our eggs in one basket. That is a surefire way to have, the bottom fall out and to be scrambling. So perfect example, I had a colleague that did all of her business speaking professionally on stages. And she made really good money doing it. And so she just kept doubling down on what was working, which is a great strategy if you diversify your incomes. Not so great of a strategy if you double down on something and that's everything that you have. Because as we saw with this pandemic, that whole avenue just dried up and was not even something that was in our realm of possibilities. And so she was not alone, just like many other people, whether they were brick and mortar owners or yoga instructors or gym owners. There were several industries that did not have diversification in their portfolio and really were at a loss and started scrambling. So my best advice for you to have high intention, low attachment, and sales as service mindset is to make sure that you are making it super easy for your client to say yes and giving them tiers of options. When I say tiers of options, I do not mean 100 choices. I just want to be clear for my overachievers out there, because when we confuse, we lose. So it's not about having options as long as our list, as long as our arm. It is truly about having smart 3-tiered strategies that will diversify our income, provide options to the potential client in various income brackets. So let me break that down even further. We have our low end offering, and that could be something like an ebook, a masterclass, a paid webinar, something that's under $97. It could even be, a small little mini training, okay? But you're looking at something like $7, $27, up to $97. And that's kind of like your entrance to the funnel. It's an easy opportunity for people to dip their toe in, see if they jive with your vibe, and go from there. The next opportunity when you're thinking about diversifying your offerings is your mid-tier range. And that can be something like a spotlight focused course. It could be something where you have a little bit more of a deeper dive. Maybe you do a 3-hour training, but that range is anywhere between, say, like $197. It can really go up to like $697. It's just more of a mid-range price opportunity. The high tier aspect then is your one-on-one coaching, your group coaching. Maybe you have a VIP day or you have an intensive 6 or 7 hour Zoom day that you offer. Those offerings are generally $997 or above, okay? And so you can kind of see these 3 processes. My best advice to you is to create one kick butt offering in each tier. So you have your lead magnet, which goes into your low end offer, which has an opportunity for a mid-range, which has an opportunity then to stair step to your high touch, high ticket offer. This will protect your business in such a big way and will also contribute for you to not have to be the nucleus of your business. As you know, I am extremely passionate about building a business without burning out. And so we cannot create everything around us needing to show up live, or it's just not going to happen. And the way that we do that is building things like our ebooks, our PDFs, our master classes, our evergreen trainings, our online courses. You get the idea. So the closer they get to you, the higher the dollar amount goes up. But those low and mid-range offerings can be something that you create when you've got that high creative surge, and then it's something that sits there available where you can be earning income 24/7. And then the next tier is when they have that one-on-one high touch personalization or custom program specifically with you. So those are 3 ways that you can diversify your offerings. And this is going to help you to give your potential client options. It's also going to help you think about it from the service standpoint, because as much as somebody may love you, they may not be in a financial position to come into your 10, 12, or 15K program. But that doesn't mean that they don't appreciate you and your teachings. And if we don't have offerings that are in a low or mid-tier opportunity for them, what are they going to do? So this sales as service mindset also continuously, not just also, but continuously thinks about the client's needs first. That's actually the number one secret when you're thinking about successful sales strategy. And to me, it is being 100% client-centric. Really thinking about where are they right now in their journey? What do they need from me? And how can my product or service help them solve a pain point? Help them get out of pain, misery, going round and round in circles, whatever your product or service is that helps them. And that, my friends, it can be as simple as that. And it goes back to this beginning commitment that you went into business because you believed in something. You were passionate about your product and service. You created it because either you yourself had experience from it, or that you saw your clients, friends, families getting benefits from what you do. That's what you have to remember day in and day out when it comes to sales and sales strategy. And there's a lot of different ways that you can slice and dice your sales and marketing that is in alignment with who you are and still takes advantage of psychological, human basic behavior. Okay, let me just see here. Oh, love the tiered offerings. Makes so much sense so people can choose what resonates with them. Good, I'm glad that that's resonating. And it is, and when you think about the sales as service, you still have opportunities to make these offerings. And if you're gonna adopt the 80-20 social media tip that I just gave you, it's really great when you have these 3 tiers to choose from, because on that 5th post, you could be pitching your ebook. And then maybe next week I'm going to pitch my course. And maybe then the following week I'm going to pitch a discovery call for my high tier coaching package. So in a month, you're not really pitching anything more than once, which is great when you have this 3-tiered system. It also gives you an opportunity, because I know that my audience is service-based. They're in this to make an impact. They're in this because it's connected to their mission. They believe that the universe, God, their higher power, put them here for a purpose. And so in that, the beauty is you're going to be able to reach a lot more people when you use this 3-tiered system, because you will be able to have an offering to all different kinds of income brackets that can still experience the benefit of what you do, so your impact is actually bigger. You have a wider spread, a wider reach. So I hope that that helps. I'm really excited to share this information with you, because when you start to shift the mindset and adopt this simple skill set, you will see sales as service in a whole new way. And what happens then is the people that click with you and your vibe will come closer to you, right? We will attract them. This is attraction-based marketing. This is not push-pull, but this is, here I am, here are my offerings, here is my invitation to you, and then people can take a step towards us. So it's a beautiful way to have ease and flow in your business. I'm going to put this all down in a tidy support document so you can take action and start thinking about the strategy that's going to work best for you and your business. Let me know how it goes for you. Tomorrow, we're going to be pulling all the pieces together from this week and really kind of lay out what it takes to build a thriving business. This is not about survival. This is about thriving. So I'm excited to share with you about that and my group coaching program, Thrive Tribe. I'll give you the details tomorrow on that as well. If you've enjoyed this and you want to go even deeper and have more of that personal touch so you can really start to implement this for you and your business. All right, thank you so much for being here. Hashtag replay if you're catching me on the replay. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And most importantly, I appreciate that you've made the commitment to show up for you and your business so you can have a greater impact in the world. We need to spread good vibes, and it starts with us. So thank you so much for being here. And until tomorrow, my friends, breathe joy.